Kosher Terroir. I'm Simon Jacob, your host for this episode from Jerusalem. Before we get started, I ask that wherever you are, please take a moment and pray for the safety of our soldiers and the safe return of all of our hostages. Some good friends visiting from the U.S. gathered together in Israel with me to visit some local wineries. From Baltimore, Maryland, Kenny Friedman, the wine writer, promoter, and social media influencer, joined us with his wife and daughter. From New York, Dr. Samuel Soffer, the social media wine enthusiast, joined us with his son. The following episode of the Kosher Terroir is an interesting educational conversation and wine tasting with Dr. Shivi Drori, the head winemaker at Gva'ot Winery, and his wine consultant, Yiftach Lustig. Dr. Drori is an agronomist and researcher in viniculture and enology at Ariel University, where he has spearheaded a research study recovering approximately 60 ancient varieties of wine grapes from the land of Israel in general and Samaria in particular, from which wines have been produced for thousands of years. Yiftach Lustig is an Italian-trained winemaker who has worked around the globe as well as in Israel's Midbar Winery, and his latest project, the Mitzpeh Winery down in Mitzpeh, Ramon, Israel. These two exceptional winemakers shared with us their personal views and some of their latest wine releases, as well as tasting some incredible wines they are working on for the future. Their conversation was so interesting, especially with the questions and insights from both Sam and Kenny. If you're commuting in your car, please focus on the road and enjoy. If you're home, please choose a delicious kosher Israeli wine and sit back, listen in, and enjoy.
I'm Shivi Drori. I'm an owner and winemaker here, so a partner here in Gva'ot Winery. I have a PhD from the Hebrew University in plant science, and recent years I'm a professor at Ariel University, trying, I would say, to establish a wide research in wine and grapevine in Israel. It's new. It was not something that you can actually speak about. Now we're establishing the Samson Family Grape and Wine Research Center. It's a big initiative. We have 5 PhDs as PIs, as principal investigators, so 5 different labs working on various aspects of grape and wine. My specific, I would say my main topic is the ancient grapevines of Israel. Starting 2011, we started a big expedition to collect and characterize the ancient grapevines. It's a very general term. It means that we were looking for anything that's indigenous to Israel. There were very, very few when we started, about 20 varieties that were mainly table grapes, kept by the Arab population for centuries. And the Arabs actually made the transition from grapevine to olive. And it was done many, many hundreds of years ago because of the prohibition of wine consumption by Islam. Before that, Israel was actually a very big wine country, exporting, producing, drinking, of course. So commerce was very, very much based on wine. When the Muslims conquered the area, it was still not as prohibited as it was later. The 13th century became very, very bad, I would say, for the farmers. And it was actually banned, and the vineyards were uprooted. And the wine presses were destructed or transferred or changed into oil presses. So basically, the wine industry was destroyed.
In the 1300s?
Yeah, from the 1300s.
From the 1300s.
It was the Mamluk era, and then the Turks came in. There were no Turks yet; they were Ottoman. But when they came in, they weren't really destroying anything, but they did not build anything. So it continued deteriorating gradually, and except for very few areas like Jerusalem, they built actually the walls of Jerusalem that we know now. It was not built by David. Okay, it's the Ottomans, but in certain additional places. But other than that, they just neglected the whole country. So basically, there was no population.
The hills here are filled with ancient wineries.
Wine presses.
Just over here,
Gods,
you have you have a winery that was probably making 50,000 bottles a year.
I think less, but
Right here.
a very small boutique winery.
Yeah, you can find
Yeah.
an ancient winery right here.
Right. It's almost everywhere you walk.
Every mountaintop,
Every mountain.
every mountaintop
At a winery.
has at least one.
Yeah.
And you can see them changing through eras by the technology. You can see by the carving in the stone what was the technology they were using. Baron Rothschild started the new wine industry at 1880, but unfortunately he didn't see fit to use the traditional varieties that grew here.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense actually because
They're French and they wanted to make Bordeaux.
yeah, not just that. He actually sent here specialists, and when they saw what's going on in the vineyards here, said, "Look, that's not professional. No wine will come out of this. No real wine. Even if there were a few good varieties that are suitable for wine production, they were grown in such a bad manner that a lot of spoilage bacteria, a lot of acetic acid going around in the air. So they said,
Yes.
okay, that's not the way you do wine. Let's bring good wine grapes. Let's make some good wines. And that's a pity because it took us more than 100 years, like 120 years, 30 years, to find the potential of the local wine varieties. So I'll go back to my work. There were very, very few efforts before I started, just to characterize a little bit the things that were still here, grown by the Arabs. But when I started, I said, okay, let's hypothesize that actually, I had a few assumptions. One, that they did good wines in ancient times. Okay, if they did good wines in ancient times, they definitely didn't do them from the remaining 20 varieties, which are basically table grapes. So we hypothesized that there were many more that were neglected because of the ban. And another assumption was that because grapevine is very resilient and farmers are very smart, some of these varieties may have survived all of this period. And we were right. But finding them took a lot of effort. It meant that we need to go by foot all over the country in deserted areas and find these neglected varieties. Then we need to actually see that they are indigenous varieties. We need to do genetic analysis.
Wow.
And then we need to pick them up and put them in our collection to see what they are worth. Okay, if they're actually bearing grapes at all, and if so, they're white, red, suitable for wine production. Can they accumulate sugar at all? Do they accumulate sufficient aroma compounds and acids and so on? So that took a long time. Gradually, we collected almost 100 varieties, indigenous varieties. We collected more than 650 grapes vines from the wild. And after analyzing them, we have in our hands today almost 100 unique varieties, which is a big amount. Out of them, we selected 12 varieties that, in our point of view, can be very good for wine production. And in order to put them back into the Israeli wine industry, we need to clean them out of viruses. This means a lot of work. It means that we need to take tip of the shoot, size of 0.2 millimeters. You speak inches?
Yeah. No.
Hundreds of
We know what millimeters are.
hundreds of an inch, okay?
Hundredth of an inch.
Okay. Pick it up under a microscope in sterile conditions. Put it on a special plate in tissue culture. Grow it back into a whole plant, and then check it for virus. It takes a lot of time, and then again, we succeeded already in 4 varieties to clean them. So they're back, and people can just order them now and start planting them. These varieties have new names, like Yael, Be'er, Hebrew names.
Oh, wow.
And not the Arab changed names like Jendali, that was initially Gordali, which is also doesn't sound very Israeli, but it was the Israeli name, or Bituni. Okay.
So this is Bituni. This is a red grape variety, an ancient red grape variety that Shivi discovered or rediscovered, and we're working on it. One challenge of it is because this was a table grape for a very long time. First off, it's a really massive grape. It's a massive grape. And it was a table grape, so it's farmed to be table grape, which is not exactly what you're looking for in a wine grape. But still, we're working on it for a couple of years, and I call it the Israeli Pinot Noir, because there's something Pinot-y or complexity, velvety about it. I don't know if you agree.
It's
even the color looks.
2018.
Yeah, it's very Pinotic. Yeah, it smells like Pinot. The grapes are actually not so big if they're grown right. So if they're grown by the Arabs as table grapes, they actually want them to be as big as possible, as beautiful as possible. But if you grow them on a vineyard for winemaking, you can actually really, I would say, restrict the amount of water that you give.
Yeah.
And restrict the amount of berries or grapes that you grow, and they will be even better. So, but this is sufficiently, I would say, rich for me to be a good wine, an interesting wine that actually changes the very regular portfolio of Chardonnay, Cabernet, Merlot, and so on. This is different. And as a Burgundy, succeeded in producing an amazing industry based on a grape that actually is very poor, like Pinot Noir, and makes like brownish orange wines that are basically not very beautiful for most people. But for me, they are the most amazing wines on earth. Okay, so not everything that is
they're elegant and
shiny, bright, purple, deep red are the best wines.
Yeah.
Okay?
Metaphor for life.
Yeah.
Amen. So the question I have for you with this is you're still experimenting as to how to grow these the best way possible?
Unfortunately, we cannot experiment yet on how to grow it.
Okay.
Just now I entered the first plants into the nursery to be able to produce plants. So only this year we can actually plant it. Until now, the last 7 years, we were buying them from Palestinian growers that grow them around Bethlehem.
Okay.
Why were they growing them? Because almost back to 30 years ago, around Bethlehem there was a wine industry. They were Christians actually.
Okay.
And they were all okay. They're not there anymore. Yeah, it's not very pleasant for a Christian to be in Palestinian Authority today. So basically, they're grown as table grapes today, And we found a few good farmers that can sell us for now until we have our own. And this comes actually...
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait until you have got the Batuni growing the way you want it to be grown. Wow.
One of the things that separates Gva'ot Winery and is very important for us, and we actually see it within the way we do the job, is we do have our own vineyards, and we control the farm making there. And there's a big difference when the winemaker is the wine grower than working in contract with the outside farmers. Their interest and our interest do not completely align. And so for us, taking care of old plants, planting new ones, experimenting, all of this is done in-house. And it's done in-house because of Shivi, because he's a winemaker, but he's also a scientist. He's also an explorer. And he's got me, which I'm crazy, and you give me a crazy idea, and I go, oh, that's cool. Let's see if we can do that.
This is great.
Yeah, it is. And it takes time to evolve in the glass, so just let it sit.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm watching the aromas are coming off of it, and it's just awesome.
And it's nice. It's more reddish. Okay, it's like more cherry, strawberry. A little bit notes of earthiness, floral. Very nice. And it really reminds us of Pinot Noir. So, but when we go, I would say 10 years further, I'm sure we will be able to actually pin it down to the essence of its real characteristics.
Reminds me a little bit of a pinotage.
A pinotage is usually much darker.
Yeah, but
much fuller in body.
Coffee-driven.
Coffee, yeah.
Coffee-driven.
Yeah, but it is in a way, I would say, on the
spectrum.
A spectrum of Grenache, Pinot, Nebbiolo, somewhere there. Nebbiolo that grows high in the mountains like Valtellina, areas like this.
A lot of acidity grows on rock.
Yeah, so this is the region where this falls, and it's very elegant. For me, it's the most suitable wine to drink in Israel in the summer as a red, because you cannot drink a heavy Petit Verdot.
Yeah.
In Israel, you fall down. Okay.
I feel like it has an Italian character to it.
It's only 12% alcohol. So again,
and
it has the tannins too.
If I just can add one thing that's really important about it, all the grape varieties that we know of are Italian and French grape varieties that we brought here, which is a very different climate. This is a grape variety that was born in this climate, so its resistance to the ills of the terroir, what characterizes Israel, it's a lot more resistant to it than, let's say, the French varieties. The diseases, the heat, the whole vegetative cycle of this is very different than anything I've seen in Europe.
right?
Shivi, I have a question. When you do genetic testing to try and figure out the actual origin, what specifically are you doing?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seriously.
That's a very good question you've just asked.
Okay. There are two ways to do genetic analysis, basically. Okay. One is like they do it in forensics. Means that you take markers. Let's say every one of us has specific regions in his genome that are different from each other, even from a twin, if he's not an identical twin. Okay. That's enough if you do like 22 of these in order to be able to statistically be certain that these are two different individuals. So this is one way of describing and I would say fingerprinting a variety. So that's the easy way. It takes very short time. We can do it in my own lab. It's very easy and easy. You have to have the equipment.
You use a PCR?
Yeah, PCR.
Yeah, PCR is good.
No, only PCR, and then you have to do
Western blot
sequencing, but a sequencing in a very, very fast and I would say, not very informative manner. You just have to know the length of these areas, segments. That's it. You don't have to actually know the sequence. And then there's the genomic analysis.
Right.
Genomic analysis means that you actually analyze the whole genome. Okay, that means you use 50 million base pairs, okay, of genetic data. That's a lot. It's just 1/6 of a human being, but it's still a lot. And then you have to compare between the sequence of this individual and 100 more or 3,000 more in our case. Okay? And that takes a lot of time. But we did it.
You do like CRISPR or some of those sorts of technologies?
No need for
So
that.
try and
No,
nail down exactly?
the wine industry is not
Trying to create
receptive to any genetic modifications, unfortunately.
Because that can speed up. You can look for specific sequences.
So there's also, I remember the first time I was giving a lecture to his students. He asked me to give a lecture about Italy. So we're sitting down and he's telling me about this new variety and he's showing me the leaf. And I go, but that's not Nebbiolo. And he goes, what do you mean? It's like, go to ampelography and you see that the way that the leaf is grown is very, very similar to Nebbiolo. So
well, it's not.
It's not. It's not. Ampelographia, the way the
Ampelography is the description of morphology that actually gives you identity for a variety. That's the old way of doing things.
Okay.
It's still done today, but it's deteriorating.
It's not scientific. It gives you a hint.
It's very subjective.
Yeah.
They tried to give it a lot of, differences and angles. It's very different to make science out of it.
It was science
I have a
200
laboratory
years
also,
ago.
but I have a
It was our best year.
In what?
I have a laboratory also, but I'm a doctor, but I have a lab.
Okay.
It's a science lab. But I'm saying the way we got around a lot of these things, looking at 50,000 genes, you can use now new technology to really isolate specifically what you're looking for in much shorter time. But it's very
Targeted sequencing. So we're using every technique possible. Let's switch wine, and then I'll tell you about our new endeavor. If anyone wants to switch his glass, just tell us, and we'll switch. If not, we're continuing to Pinot Noir. I'll say a few words about Pinot Noir generally in this region. Pinot Noir is a tricky variety in Israel. That's to say the least.
No matter what.
It's tricky, not very easy to grow it. The main reason is it is very sensitive to drought conditions. So if you give it too much water, you get something very uninteresting. If you give it too less water, it starts to shrink. There's a very, very delicate balance there. Actually, where it grows in Burgundy or other areas, it's usually it does get quite a big amount of rain, and it has the ability to actually thrive even if it gets too much water. Okay, but it gets watery if it gets too much water. So big years in these regions would be years that didn't have too much rain. Here we never have rain, so the control of the whole thing is
water supply,
watering in a very accurate amount. And that's a big challenge, very big challenge. A few years back, I did not produce Pinot Noir because it came so dark that people mistakenly thought it's Syrah. Okay, and the only reason was that we had a very strong drought and heat period, like a heat wave for almost 2 weeks, and they just started shriveling. We picked them too late, that's it. Okay, so it is it's unforgiving. It's an unforgiving grape variety. So as you see, the color is very similar to Bituni, and that's a standard Pinot Noir. It has a very nice color, but it's very light. Okay, and when you get Yeah. If you get in a tasting,
We want to compare them.
great. Yeah, when you get a Pinot Noir in a blind tasting, you always know it's a Pinot Noir because Grenache has a very, very different aroma. So it's quite easy to discriminate between them.
You're driving the bituini, especially when you get to give yourself the Pinot Noir style, though.
Yeah. We call it the Israeli Pinot.
I remember the Bituini 18.
Yeah.
That was on a blind tasting with Burgundy.
Yeah, but by the way, getting the bituini to where it is, it's not very easy. The fermentation.
I've never tasted it like this.
Yeah, the fermentation done here is ridiculous. Okay, we ferment them whole berries, and we actually need to put someone into the tank to break the grapes. Okay, with the legs and wearing plastic bags. So it's very, very different from a regular winemaking.
It's an ancient grape and ancient
It's an ancient grape and an ancient technology. It does not go through regular steamer crushers in the winery. It just can't. Okay, so it's
Why?
very.
And how so?
The berries are too big to go through the holes of the.
You couldn't put them on a whole cluster, just crush them.
We do it almost like that, but then we ferment it partially. It's called a carbonic fermentation.
Got it.
Carbonic maceration.
Carbonic maceration, carbonic fermentation. We leave it. What are all these slides here?
This is
The bituini.
And then we can get much more floral aromas out of it, and it goes to the lighter
Now taste
but
Pinot.
rich area, and not so it doesn't fall into too extracted, too dull place.
For the Pinot, which is Shivi's and I's passion project, we love Pinot. If it wasn't our vineyard, if it wasn't completely in our control, we would not make Pinot.
You and Yaakov Oria.
We will not.
That's his dream.
We will not.
Is making Pinot.
But in order to, we either do it well or we don't do it at all. So the only reason that we're making Pinot is because we planted it and we invested in it. We would not buy grapes from anyone. Not in the Pinot.
Well, it shows. This is my favorite Israeli Pinot. I buy this every year. It's a beautiful Pinot. I have them sitting in a cellar. They age beautifully. Oh yeah, these are the best. There's no other Pinot in Israel. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
They've become expensive. They've become a little expensive in America.
Oh yeah? Tell me about it. I was not there for 4 years, so maybe they did a lot of.
They're probably retailing that for $60 a bottle.
$60.
58. Yeah, I'm serious.
Wow.
Where's your cut? No.
No, we did not get that.
No, I used to buy them for 40. You know. And,
That's the price.
I know, but not anymore.
I'll tell you why. Because we didn't do them every year.
Yeah.
So he can actually pull back because a lot of people are looking for that.
His own method of extraction.
Yeah.
I can tell you the harvest of the Pinot is just not forgiving in the vineyard in any way, and not also the window of harvest. It's the window of picking it is very, 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 very small. So we have to be with our finger on the pulse when Pinot.
No, but everybody loves this Pinot, the Gva'ot Pinot.
It gives you a pleasant drink without being shallow. It's rich, very rich, but not too heavy.
Yeah.
The elegance here, that's the point. Okay, you can actually drink a bottle of that and feel that you had a very pleasant course all over the bottle. Yeah. So that's the point.
I've done that many times.
L'chaim.
Totally L'chaim. That's really cool. Excellent. It's interesting to compare them so directly because it actually looked more Pinot-like, the Bituini, until you have the Pinot.
This is just.
Oh, this is a very good Pinot.
Yeah, I know. I know.
It depends on the year.
I'm curious to see when you grow the grapes here, the Bituini, whether you can get this level of concentration.
We could
I
get
think
it
so.
higher.
The difference is the Bituini doesn't quite have the concentration that this has.
I agree. This has the tannins, the very supple tannins that very enjoyable. Okay, the Bituni does not have it yet, and it will once we grow it ourselves.
Right.
This is exactly what we're looking for.
When you market the new Bituni, you have to make it very clear to people that it was the first vintage made here.
Not only that, it will be from grapes that are clean from viruses. They will be much better colored and much better flavored. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, so that's it.
What's next?
Thank you very much. I'm joking. After the Pinot.
You know something? If that was it and it was finished, it would be. It was worth coming.
Don't worry.
It was worth coming.
It's good to get blitzed by 11 o'clock in the morning.
כן. מרלו. יש לנו מרלו, לא, שנייה, משה. תביא מרלו 19, אם יש לנו. בסדר?
You told me it's ancient grape, why doesn't it show more of a warm climate type of feature to it?
Well, okay, the way that... If I can the way that
it's interesting what we will answer. Okay.
Because it's... If you take a cold climate variety and you put it in a warm climate, it reacts to it. But this is a warm climate variety, so it can remain fresh. That's what I think is its beauty. Again,
how's the heat here for you?
Perfect.
Perfect?
Yeah.
Yep.
While you're talking.
Why do you want me to re-ask the question now?
It's actually the fact that it is a warm climate variety that allows it to be not over the top.
Right.
If that makes any sense. It's not overly concentrated.
It's not a transplant. It was sort of the...
Exactly.
It's a local. It's a baladi.
So it... Right.
Baladi grape variety.
It is. For me, when we speak about Mediterranean varieties, we're mistakenly speaking about South France varieties, which are not really
Rhone varieties.
I would say
Southern Rhone, Nice, Provence, these regions.
Now,
Syrah.
these are really European varieties. Okay, they are not hot climate varieties. I mean, it comes to be warm there once in a while, but not here. Not like here, that from March we're starting to be warm. So it's very different. When we look at the varieties that are indigenous to Israel, most of them, first of all, are white, which is very interesting. Secondly, the reds are mostly light red, not very dark. We have only 2 or 3 varieties in the whole collection that have very dark, rich, tannic and pigmented characteristics. That's because it's the warm climate does not favor too much tannin and too much anthocyanins. It's very hard for grapevine to do that in this hot climate as a regular thing. And in Israel, in order to grow these varieties, we do a lot of tricks. Okay, the transplants. Okay, but the varieties that grow here, what was, I would say, selected into them was drought stress, salt stress. I would say resistance to very limey soils. That's the point there. Not making very dark grapes. People that grew them, first of all, wanted them to be able to stand and thrive in very harsh conditions. That was the main breeding purpose. Okay. 18. You're okay. We're gonna taste Merlot. So basically, I think that wines in the hot region basically will be lighter on the color. Basically, will have less tannins than what you expect to have in colder areas. Okay, cooler areas, but they will be very rich. If they're good, they're gonna be very rich, and if they're good, they will keep the acid, even though that's not the basic characteristic you find in most grapes in hot climates. So freshness, if they're good, you'll find them fresh. You find them rich. That's the characteristics we're looking for, and not extraction, not darkness. Okay, that's basically.
Here's another question for you. Because you're a businessman also, you're not just a winemaker.
Okay.
You're not just a scientist.
No. He's not a good businessman. He's the guy
Maybe he's not, and that's my question.
He's got
is
a
that
partner that's limiting you.
Yeah. Well, because you're making grapes that are not. You're making varieties that are not necessarily. People don't go into a wine store and ask for Bituni. People ask for cab, and but you get away from that.
Yeah.
How do you balance what you want and what will sell?
There's a lot more production of the cab. The whole Bituni program is less than 3,000 bottles.
Yeah. Right.
In 100,000 bottles.
But obviously the passion is Pinot, Bituni, indigenous. No.
That's fine. That's my passion.
Winemaking.
Passion's
it's like what you do for a living.
A lot of things.
Perfect.
Huh?
You asked the perfect.
Yeah.
A lot of things. I'm a chiropractor, physical therapist.
Great.
But I'm also a wine writer.
Okay, that's great. How much of your time you put into wine writing?
Right, small amount.
Okay, what do you?
But that's what my passion is.
Okay,
right.
Great.
That's the answer. Yeah. Right. I understand it. I understand it firsthand.
So we do a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon. We do very good Cabernet Sauvignon. We do a lot of Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay. But I'm more interested about Jindali fermenting in my terracotta amphora than in the Chardonnay fermenting in a stainless steel.
Right.
L'chaim. This is 2018 Merlot.
Merlot is also.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a story about how we met. When I was in Jerusalem, I was a head sommelier. I came here when we just became friends, and we did a barrel tasting, and I've tasted the Merlot.
Excellent.
And Merlot is a problem in Israel because a lot of the winemakers, a lot of the wine growers treat it like a Cabernet, and it's not. It's a much more unforgiving grape variety than Cab. And one thing I'm really happy about, and one thing I'm really passionate about, even though it's not our bestseller, and it's a very limited release, is I'm really proud of our Merlot. And I think, let's be modest and say we're top 5.
I'm not just saying it because I'm here in this winery. This is the finest Merlot made in Israel. And it's interesting because you make it on the entry level wine. I've been buying it for years. And I've posted about it. I've written about it. That this is, for me at least, the best Merlot made in Israel.
The amount of effort put into this Merlot for the price point,
you don't make it
the quantity is you would not believe what goes on behind the scenes. Because we're very, very proud of this Merlot.
Yeah, you should be. It's an excellent. It's not funny because you don't have a go from it. This is the entry level. I always tell people because it sells in New York. You can buy this bottle for now. It's a little more, $28. It used to be $22.
Right.
But it's still for the value of that kind of wine.
You know Sideways movie?
Yes.
Of course.
That's it.
No more effing Merlot.
Not drinking any effort.
That really it hurt the Merlot market in the world.
And it's a pity because
Pinot,
it's a beautiful variety in some areas.
I love Merlot.
Some of the best wines in the world are 100% Merlot.
I love Merlot. I think a lot of the people that think they like Cab would prefer Merlot.
They don't even know they're drinking Merlot. They're drinking these wines from the right bag. They're 100%
the way the spectrum goes in Merlot, the Gauss bell kind of thing. The problem with it is normally you have a Gauss bell. You have a mid-range cab, let's say, and then most of it is somewhere in the average. And you have some cabs that are really good and some cabs that are horrible. The thing about Merlot is it is really binary. It's either brilliant, it is either wonderful, amazing, and tasty, or it's disgusting.
There's a lot of bad Merlot.
And the shift is about 90% to the disgusting and 10% to the beautiful. And
now we will pour the new one, so we can. compare, אוקיי, משה, תנזור לו אחרי זה עוד קצת
I found 18.
לא, קודם תרגילי.
I thought the 18 vintage in Israel was a very good vintage, no? Found like...
I would say here that we had a few varieties that were very good.
Yeah.
And a few that were very late to be picked.
Here's what I would say.
It was a cool year.
Yeah. I would say that I found that maybe because it was a cool year, a lot of not such great producers made better wine. You make great wine every year. Producers that don't had better years than 18.
Yeah.
That's more forgiving, I think.
It was more forgiving.
Yeah.
Your 18 Pinot.
Yeah.
Did you like your 18 Pinot?
Not much.
Okay, interesting.
But you know what we really like?
It's very-
But you know what we really like? The Bituni 18.
I know, but
That was
it's interesting.
amazing.
I buy the Pinot every year,
Yeah.
and 18 for Israel, it was a good year. There were a lot of good
Yeah.
wines from Israel, but your Pinot that year, it was good, but it wasn't quite.
It didn't have
like
the
the
brilliance.
17, which
It didn't
wasn't
have
such
the
a good year.
brilliance,
The 17
right.
was a better year.
I agree.
Because of
So
the...
funny that I've been meaning to ask you that for a long
Yeah.
time.
Definitely. It was one of the years that it was very, it went to the point of leather and earthiness without having the beautiful perfume.
By the way, the first time I came here, I tried a barrel tasting of the Merlot, and to this day, and I will not forgive him for that, I
Feel the acid here, which is natural acid. This is a lot of fruit. This is a very long wine. Okay, the aroma and fruitiness in the mouth is kilometers, and that's a very good Merlot. Okay.
first time I came to the winery, I did a barrel tasting with him, 2010, I think it was, maybe 2009. And we tried a couple barrels. He had 3 barrels of very, very specific Merlot. He knows this because we fight about it till this day. I wanted 1 barrel as a 1 barrel bottling.
And I put it into masala.
And he put it into a blend. Don't touch my wine. But Merlot is, yeah.
Merlot in this region, if it's grown properly, you can pick it up with a pH of 3.25, which is ridiculously low. It means that it has very good acidic build. And if it's grown lower, the altitude, the alcohol, that should be around 13.5. And it's we never pick it late. We always pick it quite early. To keep the acidity, to keep the elegance. If you keep it more, you will get much more darker, and it will become an imitation of Cabernet Sauvignon.
In general, it's there's a game between North Israel and Shomron, Jerusalem Hills, in terms of the Cab and Merlot. Over there, the Cab is very expressive and the Merlot is very subdued. And over here, it's a little bit of an inversion of that. And I'm talking in broad strokes because it really depends on the grower and specific site.
Actually, if there was a market for Merlot, we would grow here the majority of Merlot.
Yeah, the Merlot here is much better than the one up north.
Right.
Yeah.
The vineyard dance is what blend?
The vineyard dance, it depends on the year, but it's basically a blend of a lot of Petit Verdot, some Cabernet Sauvignon, usually, and it could be the difference between like 40% Petit Verdot, 40% Cabernet Sauvignon, or 50% Petit Verdot, 30% Cabernet Sauvignon, and the rest could be Merlot and Cabernet Franc. Sometimes I even put a touch of Pinot Noir in. So it's a blend, and it really depends on the year.
Is the vineyard?
He's with us.
Shivi, the vineyard dance is Mavushal?
Not all of it.
Not all, right?
We produce a specific amount for hello, welcome.
Shivi, the Merlot is still not Mavushal, right? Merlot is not Mavushal.
We make batches for the American market of Mevushal.
I didn't even think about
I don't really like it, but
I know.
There's a
You
demand.
Because
in general don't like to cook your wine.
In general, I don't like it.
In America now, the Cab Sav, the regular entry level, the entry level Cabernet they're bringing now is only the Mavushal one. I can't find the non-mavushal regular Cab Sav, and it's not quite the same
No, it's not.
wine.
Even though we do a very good bishul.
Yeah, I
process,
know, but it's not the same.
But the reason I don't do bishul for all of it is because it changes the wine.
Right. But the Merlot in America are the ones
you
still
came along?
not mavushal.
Okay.
The ones I said.
This is your glass.
Just do it.
You just pour it.
Is that 8 time?
Okay, so this is Vineyard Dance 2022.
27% heat, 41% rabbit, 7% white
Marcelin.
Marcelin.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had Marcelin.
We had
Yeah.
to spice.
The blend.
Added
We had
some-
The Marcelin's growing here?
No.
Oh.
We had a small amount of Marcelin coming from somewhere else, and we thought it could spice up the.
Yeah.
This is green pepper.
7% means about 2.5 barrels into the whole blend,
Yeah.
more or less. Okay?
This has green
Very
pepper
nice.
there. Let's talk about Petit Verdot in Israel.
You like it?
Okay. So
22.
if I had to choose a variety that's the Israeli variety,
Yeah.
else of my indigenous varieties, it would be Petit Verdot. The reason is that it's so versatile. It can actually do very good, and do good. It means that it gets very good characteristics of Petit Verdot in almost every terroir in Israel, from the Negev to the north, and that's unique. It's very, very unique.
It has a very high tolerance for heat.
Yeah.
A very high tolerance.
And the reason is that it's a very late ripener, which makes it very green and very tart in Bordeaux. This is why they put it in a very, very small amounts into the blends. It's a colorant more than anything else there, because it has very high color. Here in Israel, because it ripens late, it's great because that's when the heat goes down. So actually, its ripening area period is in a more milder temperatures. So it really gains amazing complexity, color, and everything. And we use this, the Petit Verdot, in our winery as the main working horse. Okay, it's like 40% of the wines here are Petit Verdot based in the reds. If I look at it, we planted more Petit Verdot than any other variety in the winery in the last 5 years.
It's an acidic carrier. Okay, it brings acidity to the blend a lot of the time with freshness. So that's a backbone in terms of a wine.
And very good tannin.
Yeah.
I'm glad Kenny
Always
asked
looking
that.
for something.
I never understood why in Bordeaux they can use it in such tiny quantities. Essentially, a color to the wine.
Yeah.
But in Israel, and there are several people that make a pretty good Petit
They
Verdot.
can't make it right. And
doesn't right.
But it's interesting.
We can make it right.
I'm glad you asked that because I never understood
Yeah,
that.
Just too
I've always
cold.
thought about that.
Yeah.
We pick it up here after Sukkot, or during
Right.
Sukkot. Okay?
It's interesting.
Very late every year.
This is the last.
I think
It's the last.
Really
It's
one
always
of
the
the
last.
ideal varieties here.
You'll never find a
Could
pure
be
Petit
1
Verdot
month.
in France.
Yeah.
1 month
This is something-
after the Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a lot of time.
Has
Late
a
ripening.
lot of flavor, a lot of color, a lot of fruit, but it doesn't let go of the acidity, which is the main issue. I could use it in terms of balancing everything out in a blend.
Keeps it acidic.
And if you pick it a bit earlier, you don't get too green, which is great.
What year is this?
This is 2020.
The Vineyard Dance.
22.
22. Delicious.
Yeah, this is. It was bottled a month ago. Okay, so it's a baby,
Beautiful.
but it's very tasty.
Very, very, very elegant.
The Marcelin, we had a go at it 1 year, just in 2022, I think. It was an experiment. We like experimenting, and but it's not something that we're putting into the vineyard. It was a good experiment.
What are you talking about?
The Marcelin.
Marcelin.
They made a pure Marcelin.
Oh, you made a pure Marcelin.
It was an we we wanted to check it out. We wanted to taste it, test it. It was a great experiment, but I don't think it's gonna.
What failed about it? What about it failed?
It doesn't hold the acid as it should.
Yeah. It didn't give. It gave us a lot of spicing for the blends, just to get everything to tweak it, but it wasn't interesting enough to merit.
So, but why do you use it in a percentage in the vineyard dance? Like, what is it bringing to this?
It gave some spice. So when we talk about spice, it could be like tobacco. It could be a bit of
green pepper.
Not only, maybe some, but more like black pepper. Mm-hmm. It could be like cinnamon sometimes.
Right.
Small amount of cinnamon. So that's on a low level, because if we put too much of it, we would lose the balance.
But you absolutely taste it in the wine, though.
There's
absolutely unmistakable.
That's a very green pepper paste. I think that's even. I had that. I had that.
Is it another one? Okay. 2021 Cab Reserve. Gofna Cab Reserve.
When you go to Gofna, you usually find in terms of percentage, a lot more percentage of our own vineyards. Okay? So one vineyard is right next to Shivi's house. It's called Cab 1. We call it Cab 1. It's non-irrigated. Very old variety. Very old, 15, 20
vineyard,
years?
Yeah, it's a 22 years old vineyard. It was not irrigated at all the last 12 years. So that's very, very different from others. You get a lot of
small production.
Yeah,
like it produces nothing, but the concentration of it's the best cab I've ever tried in Israel, by far, like miles.
Now let it have some time to develop in the bottle, in the glass. Give it some air.
This is 100% cab?
Not exactly. We never do 100%. It's could be,
Yeah.
Six Merlot.
Okay, we always balance. Almost ever, I almost never take a single vineyard and bottle it. I always find something unbalanced and try to balance it with something else. It's part of the job.
On the bottle, this would never say 6% Merlot. It just says cab.
Yeah, right.
Well,
no, you see it behind.
yeah, even by the rules, though, you don't know.
Oh, it does say 6%?
Yeah.
No, it does.
If it's less than 15% of something
Correct,
else,
you don't have to
can
say
call
it. Yeah.
Right.
That's
We want just 6% means one barrel. In the whole blend, it's just one barrel that had
One barrel, right.
Yeah.
Just to
The ABV, the alcohol, I've always been under the impression that there's tricks to play, I guess, for tax reasons, whatever. It's always honest, the ABV. But do you know what I'm talking about? Like people, for tariffs, I'm saying
If it's very high, people do foilish sticks.
yeah.
If it's on the lower side, there's no reason to be not honest. But if you're on a 15.5 in the States, it becomes a liquor.
Right.
This is why people take it a bit lower. We never get there, so we don't have the problem. We always pick the grapes around 13.5 alcohol. Sometimes it goes up to 14. But that's it.
it's funny because a lot of the Italian legalities are all to get the alcohol up, and a lot of that has flip-flop now.
Cold climate has a challenge of getting ripeness. So in cold climate regions, Bordeaux, Pinot, Burgundy,
but it's not so much anymore, right?
He was a winemaker in
Italy. He told me.
So getting to the high alcohol percentage means you've done a good job and you got the grape ripened. Here it's the other way around.
Right.
Okay, if I can get a full body or fully matured wine
now it comes
at 13%, then I've made it. Like the less amount of alcohol means the more acidity, or the less foliage. Less. I didn't have to play with the wine as much.
Is there a difference nowadays? in Israel in terms of the heat and how it's affecting grapes versus 40, 50 years ago? Is it hotter now as it is everywhere?
Yeah.
So you have the kind of the other problem of trying to control the grapes as opposed to what's
Israel
happening.
is the forefront lab of climate
Right.
change in the world.
And is in the Negev is even more so?
Yeah.
Like, and
Negev
they're
is
really
the,
at the
Negev is the I would
Right.
say it's the front.
Depending on the site.
of what's going to have to happen in Europe, I guess, right?
Negev is basically the site of climate change.
Canary in a
for
coal
Israel.
mine. Yeah.
And Israel is the forefront lab for the whole world, and
rest of the world,
we are publishing a lot of papers
So interesting.
about
Negev
the
is a very,
effects, the effects of
Right.
climate and terroir, basically how it changes because of heat accumulation over the
Right.
years. We have more and more. The basic thing that we see is not the regular temperatures and regular days. They are quite similar to other years, but the amount of heat waves and the intensity of the heat waves, that's the point. And if in previous years, like 20 years ago, we had maybe 1 or 2 weeks that we had 3 or 4 days of heat wave, last year we had three weeks of a heat wave was unwavering.
2023
stop.
was the hardest harvest I've ever seen. Like, it was 2023 was the hardest harvest by far. It was very difficult to in a harvest. You have to make plans for next week or the week after that, and we had very little leeway because it was very difficult to make a decision today in terms of 2 days from now. Because you didn't know where the vineyard will...
The vineyard could either be stuck because of the overheating,
Or
could
could
just
run.
close itself and wait, or it could race to ripeness. Yeah, and that was very tricky. Very tricky.
How long does this sit in oak?
It's usually between 16 and 18 months.
What kind of oak?
You can
We
see
love
that.
Provence.
French or French,
We love
American?
Provence. Yeah, it's so French.
They're generally used barrels, or
You see, we have a blend of about 30% new. And these reserve Gofnai, we usually have like 50% new and 50%
oak is very
older
controlled
barrels.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oak is controlled.
Do you move the bottle? Do you move it from new oak to
No, we use a few
then blend it
barrels
all.
for the blend.
I see, so
Some of them were all
older,
the time in the
so
new
you don't get
oak.
so it doesn't get over
So
oaked?
the blend, if you get too many new barrels,
Yeah.
you will get like we call it oak juice.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and that's not very pleasant.
We know that term.
Yeah, of course.
You have to be very, very careful about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some wineries who try to make that.
I think that's.
Well,
I think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
more. I think it's more common to find
Yeah,
oak juice
unfortunately.
as
you
opposed
have-
and controlled oak.
I can tell you for myself, I was in 2016. I had a harvest in the U.S. and when I landed, I went to Napa Valley I was supposed to be there for 3 days. First appointment, friend of a friend, which is Camus. I went there, which they make beautiful wine. I was there for about 3 hours and said, "Okay, I understand Napa. I'm going to Sonoma now because it was."
So
The amount it felt like the same wine in different houses.
at Camus,
The Napa Cab and Napa Chardonnay. It didn't feel like there was any leeway. In Sonoma, when you're talking about the Russian River, not Alexander Valley, which is a lot more commercial wineries. In the Russian River, you do have those avant-garde winemakers
Right.
that take chances. That I can't even blame Napa. The cost of land in Napa is so high
Right.
that they can't take chances on a different style. They have to
One
make
style.
that same buttery Chardonnay
Right.
and same woody cab, which is they make a great cab and they make a great Chardonnay, just not my style,
Right.
and not something I'm interested. And and you move from winery to winery.
Guys, you don't want
you try
anything on
pretty
the
much
side?
same.
Okay, if you're looking for color and extraction,
There's a
yeah,
petite-
What are we
look
drinking?
at it against a white cloth or something.
that Solon doors.
Can't
What are we
see
drinking
anything,
now?
right? Pitch black.
The one?
Huh?
Sorry.
Yes.
Ziverdot.
Yeah, very, very super dark. So
very dark.
producing color is easy if you have a Petit Verdot, if you have a good Petit Verdot. The point is not just getting it to extract, but rather have a very specific aroma and the characteristics of the Petit Verdot. And we call it inkiness.
Really put your nose in it.
Some very dark fruits.
Absolutely. Back of the palate, it's balanced, it's just tremendous.
So you understand, we make this wine for you, like not for the market. The market does not appreciate a Petit Verdot varietal. It doesn't. When we make this, we make it for you, for a consumer like yours, like you.
Yeah, I love these ones. I love your Petit Verdot. Buy this every year.
It's so difficult to sell.
They sell this in America.
Yeah, but it's not too heavy.
No, but
I am proud of it being Petit Verdot.
Me too. I know. I get that.
Yeah.
Just to sell it, you saying.
There are.
People don't know what they want.
But
Yeah.
They taste this and they go, that's crap I've never tasted.
You're a wine writer, right? You're a wine write about Petit Verdot coming from Israel.
I do.
And
I have.
once people will be educated, they might even go and look for it.
The reason me and Shivi and I work so well together. First off, we both pull to different ends of the spectrum, and I believe that the end result usually is better than anything that we could achieve by ourselves. But we both think of ourselves as educators, and the wine that is produced here does have the intention of not just being tasty, but also to educate the drinkers. I believe in it. I think you believe in it too, and that's part of the reason why we do Merlot, why we do Petit Verdot.
This is very intense. Some people would say it's even too intense for them. Okay, but there are a lot of people that this is exactly what they're looking for.
What's the in terms of a window of when to drink something? Like, what do you say about that? What do you say
Infinite.
about? Yeah, really infinite.
Yeah. This is
When do you say this
so
peaks? When
concentrated.
do you say this peaks?
Peak, I would say 12 years from now.
12 years.
it softens beautifully. It softens. I have some old
This
ones.
is
I have some old
2021.
ones. Did you make this in 2013?
Yeah, I think
I
it was
still
the
have it.
first year. Yeah.
I think I have a 20. I think I still have it. It's because I when I drink it every
It
time
was not from our vineyard then.
It wasn't?
We got it from
It's
a
still
vineyard
very
here
good.
in Shiloh Valley. It was very good.
But I remember every time I open one of your Petit Verdots, I write a note on every bottle I open. I write, don't open another one for another few years. You know what I'm saying? It's still not quite.
The Petit Verdot can age. I think this is why I'm saying it's the Israeli variety, because this one can actually age
Right.
very well for very long
Will this
time.
develop tertiary notes?
Yeah, not now,
Not now.
but 12 years from now.
Yeah.
It has so much tannin, so much, I would say, body that it will keep its current characteristics for very long and
Right.
start becoming aged much later than the Merlot we tasted.
Yeah.
Merlot cannot age very well.
No. I find the Merlots that I buy, I usually drink them within a few years.
Merlot, I would say 6 years is the maximum.
But that's why I think Americans specifically should buy more Merlot also, because it's there now, it's ready,
Right.
and it's soft, and it's Cab is
there are
not
Merlots
really
we buy.
right for the American palate because of
You don't
that.
realize there are Merlots you buy. You like the DRCs, right? It's 100% Merlot.
I didn't even
You
say.
like a wine like the DRC.
Yeah,
It's 100% Merlot.
right. I love
Different. I know it's a different kind
Sure.
of Merlot. This Merlot is a wine first couple of years. Sure. That's what I learned with this. It's not
Guys,
always.
we have 2 more wines.
Okay.
One is Masada, 21.
Which is a blend.
It's a blend. It was our highest blend until recent.
Now you make the Raz.
Now we make the Raz.
The Raz, right.
So the Raz is not available in America.
The Raz
Taste
is
the
not
Raz.
available anywhere but here.
Can we taste the Raz? No, I don't want to taste it. I want to buy a bottle.
Yeah, that's of
Can we do
course.
that?
Yeah, that's possible.
There's very few.
bottles.
Very few.
That's why
Yeah.
one of the reasons I came was
Yeah.
to taste that one.
And there's also
what is the Raz? What is the
another
Raz?
thing.
The Raz are two barrels from the whole winery, aged for 24 months at least. and then 3 more years in the bottle here in the winery. So 2017 is what we sell now. 2018 is starting to sell soon.
And,
Okay?
and if you want, there's another bottle that's only sold here. It's something of a passion project between us. It's Gva'ot Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Gva'ot Sauvignon Blanc.
And what's
It's
you
not
want to
even-
open the Raz or you want to open Masada?
No, we'll have the Masada.
Masada,
Let's
yeah.
open the Raz too.
No,
זה 2021?
I want to try the. I mean, I love the Masada, but I store. I have a million of them. I buy the Masada. I tell everybody, of all the wines in Israel, this is the best aging wine.
Great.
In Israel.
The Masada.
The Masada is the best
That's
aging
right.
one.
I think
Every
that's
time I've never opened one that I thought wasn't young. So I'm still, and I'm talking about I'm going back to
That's
2000.
probably
If you
true.
go back to 2005, you will find it.
No, I don't have them. I don't have those. I have maybe 2010. I've never had a young one I didn't think was young.
We opened.
I open one every Sukkot.
We opened our Herodion, which is kind of a Gva'ot Cabernet Sauvignon, 2009, about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we opened.
And it was
I
perfect.
have some Herodians,
Perfect.
2009s, and I'm telling you,
Perfect.
everybody said I love the Gva'ot better, and I just for some reason they got lost in my cellar, and I pulled them out, and they're amazing.
Amazing. We opened one here, and I don't post a lot on Facebook, but I was so excited that I actually posted
Yeah,
it.
saw that. I
called
saw
him-
that.
I told him, look, there's a bottle open in winery. You gotta give it a go. It's perfect. It's
Yeah.
just-
I still have some bottles with it.
Ça te tell. Ça te tell.
My wife has a better palate than I, and she loves that.
Which
So-
one?
The Herodian.
Yeah.
The early Herodian.
For me as a technically the Gva'ot series technically is more important than the
No, it's not the
Gva'ot.
best. It's more important.
More important
Because most clients
yeah.
will find Gva'ot and not Masada.
Right.
We have to have the Gva'ot in a very high level because this is the entry level of the winery. Once you have it and you are very much impressed, you will go up to the Gva'ot and to the
But
Masada.
what I've always
Give it like.
what I've
2-3
always liked
minutes.
about the Gva'ot
But
wines.
erase it a little bit because this is the youngest one. We're still selling 2020. So I asked him for 2021 because I wanted to taste 2021 to see if it's ready.
This is the Masada.
Yeah.
What's nice,
This has not been released, the 21 Masada.
when people ask me about the Gva'ot wines, though, I always, because I don't have to know what they're drinking. Any wine, the entry level ones are delicious. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not, you don't make any bad wine.
Yeah.
There's
No,
no
there's
bad wine. And that's one of the nice things of the winery.
And the thing is, because I can choose the vineyards in terms of what goes in, making a Gva'ot for me today, I'm going to go up and I'm going to start working on the 2022 Gva'ots right now, in about an hour. And I don't want to. It's not easy and it's always difficult. But it's much easier.
Give it time. This
It's much
needs
easier
like
to make
big nose.
at least 5 minutes.
because I already have the rights. I've got the. I don't know how to explain it. Maybe
What-
you can explain it better.
Shivi, what year is this wine?
2021.
21.
It's not released yet.
It really needs 5 years.
Yeah. Wait for.
I know, but it needs. I've done this before
Yeah.
on these wines, and
Yeah.
it needs a decant. If you're going to open it, it needs a decanter for 2 hours.
This is a potential taste.
Watch.
This is what we're doing now. A lot of air. A lot of air.
A lot of air.
It's a winemaker's hands.
Do it.
Winemaker's hands. Yeah.
And immediately you're going to see how it opened up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blend it.
You know
Make
what
a blender out.
You know what I've seen people doing lately? They take
The bottle,
call like a
close
zhuzher
it.
thing. Put
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Would you do that?
There is.
there a thing to that?
There is a Venturi.
Yeah.
Do you see the
thing.
difference?
This works for these wines.
Right. But do you know what I'm talking about? The immersion blender.
Yeah.
Used to do- Would you do that? No.
Just air.
Just there.
I know the zhuzher. I know.
Okay, here it comes. Here it comes.
Some people put it in regular blender.
But I've seen they use it for the cappuccino thing.
Okay, let it.
And
be,
it
let
makes
be.
sense to me because that really blows it up. Yeah, it really blows it up.
Masada is blended for very long aging. That's the whole point. But on the other hand, we still want it to be available upon release, so you can actually drink it and have a lot of pleasure. But you will definitely notice that it's best if you keep them for a few more years.
Oh, yeah.
At least 5, 6 years more. And that's the whole point. So there are a lot of people that have no patience, and that's fine.
Right.
And I always tell them,
Majority
if
of
you
people.
buy Masada, buy 6-pack, at least. Have one now, and then every year from now. Put your notes and try to see how it evolves. That's the whole point. If not, don't waste your money, just buy Gva'ot.
Yeah.
It's funny. I used to do that with the Masada. I stopped. I wait now about 6 or 7 years
Just
before
before
I-
you start.
Easy.
Well,
Yeah.
then I wait. I'm telling you, 10 years. I'm not sure how long. By the way, I'm not sure how long they can go because I don't have old enough bottles to know how long it'll go. What's your original bottle?
I'll tell you.
2005 was the
Is it
first.
still going?
We're not sure how long it can
We
go.
have-
We don't know.
But is it an 05 still drinking?
Yeah.
Nicely?
We
Because
have-
people talk in Israel, people that we have chats, all these little, all the mavens. No, I'm saying we have this thing. But people talk about how long one
They also
can
don't know what
go.
they're talking about.
And I don't think we know this specific
That's what I
wine.
I
would say.
always tell,
No,
I
I'm serious,
never
I don't think we know
the
about this
aging
wine. It's
potential
just
of
not
our
old
wines
enough wine.
because we don't have old enough wines.
Well, that's right.
I just don't know.
Yeah, I do too.
I know our crews, right? Our plots. And we work on, like, when we think about wine in Shivi, we're thinking about it in terms of plots. And I know that our Kabas one, easily, if I will ever bottle 100% Kabas one, could easily go 20, 25 years. Easy. The upper enchilada of that aging capability, I don't know. But 20 years, I will sign it.
Of which ones?
Our
Masada?
a plot called Kabas
Have
one.
it stay in your mouth.
Really?
Feel the richness.
The Cabernet
That's the
next to
point.
Shivi's
Right.
house.
Okay.
Right.
It's a very, very particular plot.
Wow. Uh-huh.
And it has an aging capability of 20 years.
25 years, easy.
Easy. But you will never have
Big
it.
statement.
But you will never have it
Yeah.
100%.
This is rich. Okay, this is what we're looking
It's
for.
concentrated
going.
in ways that you.
Length and complexity.
Has
That's
some,
what
has
we're
some,
looking for.
has some serious tannins right now, too.
Yeah, but they're not sticky.
No.
Okay, they're like mouth
No,
coating,
the wine's balanced.
silky tannins.
Ariel?
But they're big.
Ariel?
We're getting food.
Wide. It's
Yeah.
very wide. So this is what we're looking for in our higher blend. Okay. Again, we have Raz. We will see Raz. Okay, it's even a notch higher. But this is what we're aiming when we're producing Masada. And again, Masada is an open blend. I can actually decide every year if I shift it a little bit. In some years, it will even have Pinot Noir. Some years, it will have. If I can throw in even a small amount of white wine. Okay, so it's really open.
Do you put the grapes on the bottle? I don't think you do, right?
I do.
You said you do?
In Masada, we don't really describe very deeply.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
I leave it vague.
It's a trust thing.
I leave it vague.
It's
Yeah.
trust.
How did you come up with the name Raz?
Oh, you just entered a world of pain. I have no idea what you just asked. I will take that back.
We actually called it Sleepy Joe to start with.
We had a name, we had everything set up, and then we figured out someone else was using
We
the
made a
name.
lot of fun out of it. We had 5 years to think of it, and we came up with a lot of nonsense. Finally, we thought calling it Trump. I mean, jokingly, and then we called it Sleepy Joe, and then we called it a lot of bunch of things. But finally, there was a guy in close by Yishuv. He was a Yamam fighter, very serious guy, and he fell in duty, and his name was Raz. Noam Raz. So we decided that his memory is the highest thing that we see as the highest rank that we can think about.
I was wondering whether that was.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And the first thing we did is send her his widow about
Wow.
Raz.
Beautiful.
They did an inauguration of Bet Knesset on his name, and they opened this bottle there.
Beautiful.
And
You
for
put
us-
that on the, will that be on the bottle or in the?
No.
No. That's just your story.
Yeah, great.
I saw a picture of your uniform. You were active for a while, right?
I'm saying that I'm the responsible adult around here.
Drinking wine at 11 o'clock in the morning.
No. That's very unique.
לא, אולי לא.
מה זה?
3. אחד? אחד?
אחד של 23?
כן.
הבנתי שאני מאוד אוהב את זה.
אני אוהב את זה, אבל ה-concentration, הוא לא יושב טוב.
I love this one.
אתה רוצה? אוקיי. כן? טוב.
Wow. Wow. You will see. You will see. He's bringing you something from the barrel. We spoke about the vineyard that has no irrigation at all. My vineyard near my house, which is a very important part of Raz and Masada. You will taste it.
It's about 10, less than 10 barrels a year, but the whole winery is based on that plot.
It gets a lot of the characteristics. You will feel it. It's something.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is the only vineyard that we ever thought about doing as a single vineyard, because the roots are so deep in a very specific kind of soil there that it gets a lot of minerality and richness. You will taste it.
If we ever do a single vineyard, it would be in the winery for 5, 6, 10 years before we release it, because
This is his bottle.
What grape is it, though? Thank you, son.
Oh, thank you. I haven't tried this
Son,
since we bottled
thank you.
it.
We drink it. We bottle it, of course. Of course.
In my opinion, this is not even entering the window. This has a ways to
This is the
go.
very beginning. I know. I knew it was going to taste like this.
This is 17. This is a 60-year-old wine acting like it's 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tastes like this. It's awesome.
When was this bottle?
Wait for it. 2019. No, 2019. After 2 years in barrels. For 2020.
3 years in the bottle?
3 years in the bottle, and now it's selling.
You only tried this in 3 years?
Sorry?
No, I had a few over the years.
No.
Yeah.
There's
But you didn't bring this to America,
less
right?
than 1,000 of these bottles.
I can't imagine. When
600.
you said, no, you
600
can't
bottles.
taste
That's it.
That's
I
it.
know when you said, no, you can't taste it. And I'm going, I know why. This is
Warm it a
awesome.
little bit.
This is going to go into my cellar for a long time.
Yeah, I'm going to put one also away.
This is, I think, a Cab and a Petit Verdot. That's it.
Open this and nose away.
Which of the wines comes out of
Wow.
that?
Now it's perfumey.
What comes out of the vineyard? Out of that vineyard? What wine comes out of that?
Which vineyard?
Warming it up a little bit.
The special vineyard that you're talking about.
All of our vineyards, our
Gives a
vineyards
little
are
warmth to the
special.
wine.
No, but the one you're talking about.
We're talking about a cab. It's almost, it's completely a cab. There are a row and a half of Merlot there, but it's 100% cab. It's a very small vineyard and a very particular one. And it gives us concentration, depth, and richness that I have not
you wanna have
experienced
it
in Israel anywhere. I think
Evolve fast. You have to warm it up. Yeah.
it gives you concentration, depth, and that I've not seen anywhere else.
Wow.
Yeah.
On my sweater?
It's like a masada on steroids.
Very good. Yeah, it is.
Good definition. Masada on steroids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about our plots and everything, we got you a barrel
You're doing that the whole day?
tasting
The whole day?
of
Taking yours too.
2023 Cab 1. Okay.
New.
This is
Fresh.
This is
6 months in the barrel.
a complex
this? Say again, I didn't hear.
That is really an infant right now. Okay.
This is going to be the Gulf
I
now?
just wanted you to understand the
will be Gulf Nine
concentration. The concentration that this plot specifically.
Don't drop the Raz, okay? You drink the Raz. You don't drop the Raz.
No. This is wasted. He's a kid.
That's why I gave him some of it.
Okay, this is also
You're a good son.
new wood. You will see it. This is a baby.
I didn't hear what this is.
This is the Cabernet Sauvignon near my house, Cab 1 we call it. And it's a very interesting,
Oh, out of that
out of the
vineyard,
barrel,
you said.
6 months old,
Wow.
an infant, just to
21.
see the concentration. Okay, when we talk about
No,
concentration,
this
you
is
will understand.
2023.
Yeah.
No, I know. Just because you said it's like it's 6 months.
It's like it's like 6 months. It's the concentration of that plot is.
This
But I
means
find that Raz approachable very much. I mean, I think it's like, you can drink that now.
you can,
Yeah.
but it's best if you wait on
Do
it.
a
Yeah, for
Metzada
sure.
now. Do a 2017 Metzada. With the Raz, still has a long ways to go.
I found that Masada more like smack you in the face, like too young, but the Raz I found more approachable. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm crazy.
Because
No,
it's
no,
much
no.
older.
Yeah, older, yeah.
Right, it's been sitting for 6 years.
You want to compare
The
it?
Masada
No, he's right, he's
is
right.
way
Masada
too young.
21.
Way too young. Way too
Compare
young.
Raz 17 to a Masada 17.
Right,
and
right,
you'll
right.
see-
Size 17 is
Well, the Masada
very
17
nice
is
already.
amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's a barrel.
It's an amazing one. But that's what it is, a 6-year-old wine
Right,
versus
sure.
a 3-year-old one.
7-year-old. We're in,
Seven,
we're in
right.
24.
Oh, that's right. This is a beautiful bouquet.
Yeah,
This is a cab.
An interesting nose.
warm it because it's like 12 degrees Celsius now. Bring it up to 20.
Normally, when you drink wine, you hold it from the stem. If you wanted to
Yeah.
warm
It's
up a
an
little
interesting
bit,
nose.
if you wanted to warm
Give
up
me
a
your
little
notes.
Earthiness,
Yeah.
a leather.
Yeah, leather earth, yeah.
This has 2 more years in the barrel before.
It's very, very unique. Very unique aroma for a
Yeah,
cab.
very, very interesting nose.
unique.
I would never guess this is Cab.
You would
No,
never
right,
guess
never.
anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know what to say about this. Yeah.
Needs to heat up.
This is what happens when you grow a
Super
Cabernet
notes, yeah.
without any irrigation.
It's just funny. I would think this is a Spanish grape.
Cab without irrigation, you
You know
said?
that?
Yeah.
Doctor?
The concentration.
Nah, something like that. Something I would be fooled.
Yeah, like Tempranillo maybe.
Right.
Yeah. It does smell Spanish.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Put it in your mouth and you will understand what's richness.
Yeah, concentration richness. And this is a baby. This is still very twitchy.
I would never guess Cab for that.
Acid.
Yeah.
Natural acid.
Major acid.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Delicious.
Wow.
It's an interesting wine. Very interesting wine.
You're going to put this in. This is going to be a Gofna wine.
It goes into Gofna,
Gofna,
Cab Reserve,
Masada,
and Masada.
Yeah.
You wouldn't make this just... No?
A single.
Why not?
It changes. It shifts. It shifts. This is very new, and it never stays like this. Okay. If I
You
would
mean
bottle
every
it
time-
very young, maybe for half a year it would stay like this, but then it evolves, and it needs. It will put a lot of complexity into blends, but it cannot stand alone. Layer.
It's very specific.
It's too concentrated. It's too hardcore.
And most people, when they smell this kind of funkiness,
Yeah.
they won't really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Do you?
can't put the-
You've had nights where you drunk and your mouth is full of tannins.
Yeah.
This one will give it to you that sensation within one glass.
to do
There's no way to finish a bottle. It's just too rich.
It's just such a fascinating aroma.
Yeah.
Very unique.
It is very special.
I can't.
don't wanna drink
There's
Now blueberries come out. Now blueberries come
that.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said blueberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now blueberries come
Yeah.
out. It's
No, I don't get blueberry there.
It's weird.
I don't get blueberry.
yeah.
Because especially about that, like,
If you want to take anything
Yeah.
from this visit, just the fact that we are an estate winery and that
Yeah.
we control our own plots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our cabs, our petit verdot, our
I would take a bottle of this.
it's
This is a port styled wine that will be. We don't make a port. Once every like 6-7 years, I make a port. Something like that. We age it for very, very long. So
we age it for very long. We use Solas method, so it's an NV. It does not have a vintage. We're looking for a balance, which a lot of the ports in Israel are
Too sweet.
I'm gonna be
Not aesthetic enough.
I'm gonna be rude, right? But it is for very religious people that want that. Yeah, exactly. They're looking for that concord. They're looking for that meneshevet, and for us, we're trying to make a proper fortified wine.
Warm it up a little bit.
A proper fortified wine means a lot less sugars, and just a lot more balance and a lot more spiciness, and
no alcohol.
Beautiful.
This is
beautiful.
This is where I side with him against the CEO. We're saying no, it's not ready.
Every year he says, "Okay, now we're bottling it." I said no.
No, not yet.
When are you gonna bottle it?
It's beautiful.
When it's ready.
This is
Enjoyable.
I'm involved with this for 3 years, and we're getting close, but I'm still not.
Getting close.
Do you
We're
sell
getting
this?
close, but I'm still not
You don't have
sure.
this bottled?
I'm not sure when we're gonna bottle this.
Really?
It's not yet decided when I'm bottling it.
We don't.
It's close.
Yeah, it's close.
Will this evolve in the bottle?
Yeah. This is actually infinite.
I never really
Because of the
If you need to take something out of Gva'ot, and I'm going to say something that's very arrogant. Okay, I am saying something that's very arrogant, but this is just a motto.
Right.
We don't release anything less than perfect.
We try.
If we have to, we have all. In the 3 years I've been consulting, we've made a lot of decisions that cost this place a lot of money.
I distill wine.
Yeah,
I distill.
If it's not perfect,
I
it's not
distill.
coming out. We're just not going to do it.
I'm not looking to make the marginal profit out of bad wines, blending them into other. No, it's Just
not.
distill them and distill.
I never understand that. There are wineries that come out
outstanding.
with literally bad
delicious
wine. I'm like, how is that not bad for your business?
I would buy this port. This is a lovely port.
They're
I don't like most
taking
ports.
the
This is a good
financial
port.
hit versus.
No, that's why I like it.
Long term,
It's only
but
60,
long term, it's a
65.
financial.
But Israel is
It has,
particular.
it has some complexity.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
And
Really
that's
beautiful.
part of the reasons why we work so well together. Is
I didn't even know you made
I'm
this.
crazy and he's crazy, and
Patience.
It's impressive.
we make wine to our own standard, and so it has to be the highest standard. It doesn't work any other way.
No, there's a lot of alcohol in there.
This is like 17.5 alcohol.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
What did you fortify it with?
Oh, that was it.
What percentage? 95 or 77?
We fortified it with 70% alcohol that was distilled from bad wines in the wine.
But 70%, like a port.
I just want to. It took 18 months to find the right alcohol to fortify it with, and eventually what we had to do is distill our own wine, because that's the only thing that we trusted.
But you used the 70%, not a crazy high percent. We had a lovely port last night. Lovely. From I think the Tofa, beautiful. From Yaakov Araya, beautiful port, but it's still with 95% alcohol. But it was beautiful. This is very lovely. though.
Enjoy it with your pizza and cheese.
Thank you. No, thank you. I can't believe we got both of you here. What a perfect. This is Simon Jacob again, your host of today's episode of the Kosher Terroir. I have a personal request. No matter where you are or where you live, please take a moment to pray for our soldiers' safety and the safe and rapid return of our hostages, and whenever possible, buy and share Israeli wine. I hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Kosher Terroir. It was exciting and informative for me as well. Please subscribe via your podcast provider to be informed of our new episodes as they are released. If you're new to the Kosher Terroir, please check out our many past episodes.